Welcome everyone once again. So we are in the middle of Literoma Winter Fiesta, and as a part of Winter Fiesta, we have a series of discussions going on. And now I'm so privileged that I have with me Dr. Urvashi here. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the Literoma Winter Festival. And as a part of it, I'm sure that all of you had already seen her. And this time we'll be taking her to a different aspect of her. Let me put it this way. So, ma'am, first of all, uh, even though a lot of our Literoma family members are aware of your writing, they had actually read a couple of books from your end, they had heard the audio story as well, which was completely which was completely from a different category altogether. And it turned out to be one of the most loved stories in the Big FM segment of Olaukik, which happened this year, sometime in August. But before that, why don't you introduce quickly, ma'am, yourself, then we can take the discussion forward.
Yeah, thank you, Tamal, and thank you for having me on board. It's a privilege as always, and it's such a pleasure to associate with Literoma. The journey's been fantastic. Well, I am an anesthesiologist, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm a professor of anesthesia. I have served in the Navy for 29 years, and then I took a premature retirement, after which I did work for a short spell of time, but then due to personal reasons, I gave up. And I decided to spend the rest of time pursuing my hobbies. Never too late. I've enjoyed doing in life. I have plenty of time to do now, apart from my reasons for not working. So I plan to, and I intend to live life to the fullest, and I always advise people to do the same.
That's a great message, actually. A lot of youngsters will love that. Now, since you already directly hit that message, I want to go to the question. Actually, before that, let me set the context. So, ma'am is one of the authors whom we have in our upcoming biography, or rather, the biography that got released recently. And therefore, I just want to know that how it has been for you. So you, of course, the biography is pretty interesting, and if someone goes through it, there are a lot of interesting facts. The way she began, you can understand that there will be a lot of interesting messages for the youngsters also, who will love to go through that. But if you have to pick and choose maybe 1 or 2 point segments from the book, which will be those two?
Well, if I had to really pick and choose, I'd say today's day and age, it isn't as relevant. Where when we were growing up, there weren't too many women in the armed forces, and to get into the male bastion as such was not a very common thing. Today's time and age, you find women everywhere, so that may not be so much, but it was a struggle at that point of time, and it was a strong sense of loyalty also, which made me get there. But if anything, I will definitely mention people are scared of joining the armed forces. They have this fear of, like I remember when I was in college in Bakura, a lot of my male friends had also thought of applying. We had this opening to go for the interview, and they all said, "Na, ma baba ra bolche je ektai chele, to okhane mane defense service e pathabo na." So there's this risk element that inhibits people, which is there. It's a part of life. I mean, you accept it when you join, but it's not so frightening. There's a lot of, it's a good life. There's a lot of adventure. Like I've mentioned in the biography, an incident when I did a 5-week stint at the border when there was action with our very friendly neighbor. So we were all firing at each other. And it was interesting. And I don't know how many medicos or batchmates of mine would have learned to wield a gun or fire a carbine. So those were additional elements. You also get to roam around, see different places, see different cultures. So I think that was a very beautiful aspect of my life. And I am what I am today, largely because of the kind of exposure I've had in the defense service. So it's not so frightening, it's not so bad. That definitely is an aspect I would like to touch on.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll come back to that point once again. But before that, I can see Shankho has also joined. Shankho is the other author who features in our biography this time. So welcome, Shankho, to this particular
Yeah,
discussion.
thank
Thank you.
you for inviting me. I hope you can hear me, right?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Yeah. Actually, it's very early morning here. It's
That's the
almost
point.
like
Yeah, which I was about to
5:40
say.
now.
Thanks for
So
beating the time zone. So you're joining
yeah,
us
yeah,
from Germany, right?
yeah. I'm German in Stuttgart, and it's freezing cold. It's like a severe weather alarm for this weekend. Now it's -9, -10 outside.
So thank you so much for
So
beating that storm, if I may say,
yeah,
when winter is
yeah.
coming. You took time
Yes,
to
yes.
to
And I
join
was also
the
sick.
discussion.
I was sick
Hmm.
also 2 weeks back, and
Hmm.
because there's a bad virus, flu virus roaming around, and I unfortunately got it, and it was really very bad. I'm still recovering out from it, slowly. So yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In spite of all those facts, you could take
yeah,
time out to join this discussion. So, Shanko, we already have Dr. Urvashi with us, and of course,
yeah,
as I was telling, you also are featuring in the latest edition of our biography. And
yeah,
so, before we go ahead and take the discussion forward, why don't you introduce yourself so that
yeah.
all our YouTube viewers, subscribers can also listen to that and know you better?
Yeah, thanks a lot for giving me this platform. Yeah, I'm Shankha. I basically come from Calcutta. Did my engineering there in one of the premium institute in Calcutta, and then I started working in Japan, in India, and finally I had to do my masters in Germany, in also related to my bachelor field, and then started working as a student, and then finally got a chance to work in a couple of companies here, and also happened to travel to US in between for also in particular area which is also like one of the prime sectors in the engineering field globally. And then again, I came back to Germany, and finally I settled in Germany. Now I'm a citizen of this country, and 3 4 years back, based on the inspiration of my mother and my wife, I again started writing because writing was a hobby when I was a child, and then surprisingly the response was really good, and I kept on getting offers to write from US, from different parts of the globe, like in Greece and all. I happened to get a couple of awards also, Panorama International Award, and also in US I was invited in their TV shows, and it happened like a spark. And then also I got introduced with Literoma in Calcutta, and I happened to have a brilliant association with them. Yes, and previously I come from a musical background, and I also do play guitar, and I have learned keyboards also here. I do compose music. I've been doing shows all along through my childhood. My father is also a very famous guitarist in Calcutta. He has been playing with a lot of famous artists, all the stalwarts in the Indian music industry. So I've been also playing in recording studios and TV throughout my childhood. I've also got a lot of awards in my school days also, and I kept on keeping this musical field alive. I played in Japan, in jazz shows, and in Switzerland, in Germany as well, India of course. So this music and literature kind of traveled along with my main career as an engineer and in the corporate world, and uh, it kept on growing, and I feel I'm blessed to have this uh, like side talents, and I'm trying my best despite a lot of other responsibilities like family and career, to give fuel to my hobbies, and I hope to kind of provide the humanity with the best of literature, the best of music, so that at least if I'm not there in this world, at least my works will speak for me, and in that way I can also hoping to remain immortal in the minds of people.
Absolutely. It's a very nice thought, Shankha, but we hope that that day that doesn't come any soon, even though
No.
that's kind of unavoidable. So, Shankha, just since you already said a lot of, you summarized it pretty well. So I just want, if you have to pick and choose maybe one particular incident or one particular thing from the biography that you had written. Obviously, I'm sure that readers are going to read it, but
Mhm.
any preferably any quirky fact about your journey, if you want to pick and choose one, what will that be?
Yeah, that is like one thing is what I would like to share is like I've seen like three different cultures starting from Japan, Europe, and US, and also in India. So basically, there are a lot of differences, a lot of variations in the approach how people like look at life. But basic certain 3 4 points remain same. Uh, like there are emotional factors beyond certain levels. So once you reach that level, all human beings across the globe are same. May it be a Japanese or an American or a German or an Indian. So you need to understand that cultural difference at the beginning. Maybe you have to break the ice, but once you reach that area, all human beings are same across the globe. That is something which I have understood through my experience, and I'd like to provide everyone. Don't get afraid of going intercultural and mix with a lot of people from different ethnic backgrounds, speak with them, understand their problems, which I have also done. I've met so many people from South Africa, South America, and have a lot of friends across the globe. The basic humanity is everywhere same. Um, there are at the beginning, yes, some people react a little bit different. They don't. Some people are really more friendly. Some people takes time, but once you reach that level, that point where everyone is same, then you'll understand that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
that's a lovely
that's a human.
observation. I think that's a beautiful message for everyone. So
Yeah,
deeply philosophical, and it's quite useful for, will be useful for a lot of people. Now
yeah.
I'll once again go back to Dr. Urvashi. So, ma'am, you already talked a lot of interesting anecdotes that you had observed. So, I want to ask you how much of these real life experiences helped you to shape up your career as a writer, because that is a new passion, as you mentioned. So, how much of that played a role in in shaping up your writing journey?
And so far, I have basically written, say, 2 books for children, and the biography that I have written on another person, on a spiritual teacher, is right now only with an editor. So I'll hold on that. So I can't say that my time in the defense services has shaped that. But yes, I did gather a lot of guts and courage to put myself out there, because it does, does take some nerve to expose yourself to criticism or open yourself to criticism when you write and say, okay, this is what I've produced, and you're ready to, for people to go whether positive or negative. So that courage definitely came from there. And like I said, I have been a go-getter. So I want to do something, I've always gone and done it. Like I told you, with my batch from Bakura, I was the only lady who had applied to join the services. And finally, out of 8 of us who had applied, I was the only one who actually went for the interview. So when I put my mind to something, I get it done. And I think the discipline and the, like I said, the courage or the dare that one has definitely came from there. I have never felt inhibited per se. But otherwise, writing, I think the thought that actually occurred to me in the beginning was, okay, anyone who's had a child is good at telling stories. All mothers are great at telling stories, whether it's to feed a child or to put him to sleep. It's just that, like I said, the guts to put pen to paper and create something. So that is how I think was the major influence that happened. Otherwise, I was quite happy to hear from Mr. Shankha saying that he's also into music. I have also learned Hindustani vocal. So there's something that
Thank
triggers
you.
us, I suppose. I did my Visharad from Gandhar Mahavidyalaya, Pune, my Visharad Pratham only. But
Okay.
there must be something in common that makes us, I mean, he's an engineer, I'm a medico. There must be something that triggers it. Or you want to do more, and you want to do more. You're always moving from some exam to one to the other. So I guess we are driven.
Absolutely. Yeah. So so as you already talked about Shankho, so I'll go back to that point, Shankho, which you were mentioning. So you said
Yes.
that the biggest takeaway for you had been that fundamentally all human beings, irrespective of the
Yes.
origin, they are all equal. So from that standpoint, maybe the similar question I'll like to ask you as well. That did this particular realization play a role in shaping up your writing journey?
Um, yes, of course, because I being in Bengali, uh, uh, I didn't find any difference when I kind of wrote my stories, which is completely based in European landscapes and European aspects. It's because I could use my emotions as a Bengali and use the geographical aspects of Europe, and it worked pretty well. Because basically human beings who are Europeans, they also think similarly like a Bengali. And yes, there are certain traits, certain eating habits, certain uh, aspects of life, some different cultural differences, which you can add to that. But since I'm proud to be a Bengali, and I feel that the literature background which we have gone through my schooling days, like Tagore and Sarath Chandra Chattopadhyay and all, these concepts, these emotions, I kind of have been learning through my childhood, and it helped me a lot to kind of plan my own ideas, because I also come from scientific background. I kind of mixed my scientific aptitude with arts and using the global cultural aspects, and then came out stories which actually have been applauded across globe, and also poetries. Suddenly, I don't know really how come this flow of poetry comes to my mind. Even my mother cannot really explain, because my father is a musician, but no one in my family is a poet or a author. So this I really thank the Almighty, because this flow somehow comes because I've been reading Tagore a lot. I've been reading Keats a lot throughout my childhood. But I think these 20-25 years of technical work uh, haven't really killed my this literature aptitude. So I was really surprised that wow, at this age it's coming back, and it's coming back so good in three languages though, in Bengali, English, and German language, and people are appreciating it. So I was really thankful to the Almighty for this.
Thank you, Shankho. That was once again such a deep thought. And it is lovely talking to you both. I want to continue, but for the interest of time, we have to close it with a couple of final messages. So I'll go back to, maybe I'll start with Shankho, you first, then I'll go to Urvashi ma'am to wrap up the discussion. One final
Yes,
message for our young actually writers. There are actually a lot of young writers, so especially addressing them if you want to say something.
yes. So everybody is an individual, and try to uh, fulfill your responsibilities with like priority one tasks, but don't kill your own interests, own aspirations, because that is what you are. You can live for others, but it's your right to live for yourself also. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. That
keep your
surreal
keep
thing needs to be there to
yeah,
keep
yeah, yeah,
going. Yeah. Thank you so much,
exactly.
Shanko. Now I'll go to Urvashi ma'am for message, especially you write for children. So there are a lot of young people who we also connect with. and if you can give a message for them.
Well, I like Mr. Sen mentioned, if good two aspects. One is you can do for others and you also live for yourself. I would say that my trigger was I've had a very good life and I think it's time for me to give back to society. So I'm a pediatric anesthesiologist. So the affinity for children comes naturally. Plus, like I said, I'm a mom, even though my son is much married now. But for the youngsters, it's your world. We've done our bit. It's your world. It's up to you what you make of it. And like you said, your aspirations and your dreams should never be sidelined. There is one life and you want to do it, like I told you earlier, also do it all. There is nothing except your own mind which inhibits you. But for people who want to start writing, like when you said the young writers, I say the children these days are so into gadgets that reading is somehow I felt was taking a backseat. So it's nice to see. And even for the international book fairs that I've attended, I find the children who come to pick up, or even adults, are mostly from, I'm a Punjabi, but from the eastern part of the country. They were mostly Bengalis and Oriyas that I saw coming in there. Few from our side also, won't say that they weren't there. But I wish more children would read because it's healthier. It stimulates your mind way more than maybe a cartoon or whatever else they keep watching on Kindle or YouTube. That habit of reading needs to be inculcated again. That's going. For young writers, don't expect to be Ruskin Bond or Amit Trivedi, immediately as you start. You do your bit. Your genre will find its readers. Your idea is to get your message across. You can't hit success straight away. You may not hit it at all also. It doesn't matter. Put your thoughts there, do your bit, and be content with what you've done. There will definitely be one section of society which will appreciate your work. So
Absolutely. Absolutely, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for summarizing it so beautifully. So there is taker for Test cricket and there will be taker for T20 cricket as well. So definitely people will find it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you. And just to remind everyone who will be listening to this video, Dr. Urvashi and Mr. Shankha, both of them features in our biography, which is available now. So please read that and just be ready for some awesome journeys of not just to these two authors, but the other authors who also feature there. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for being a part of this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Yeah.